What's up guys, Jay.
This is Charles.
We are at Lacroix HQ today. This tutorial will be about basic maintenance you should do on your board before and after your ride. Okay guys, so you've been riding for a little while now and you want to make sure to take care of your board the proper way. So today we will show you what to do before and after the ride. For that, you will need different tools.
So you're going to have 4mm Allen key. This is pretty important. It's pretty much most of the screws on the board. You want a 19mm wrench, a socket wrench, just so that you can take apart your nuts on your axles.
Okay, perfect. So easy as that, just two tools to do pretty much everything on your board. So first things first, what about the light?
So for the lights, if you're putting miles into your board, you want to make sure that your light isn't moving around. The more it jiggles around, the more the chance it's going to fail and it's going to start vibrating. So what you want to do is you're going to take your 4mm Allen key, you want to tighten your screws. You also want to check before you go for a ride, maybe do a little check with your hands and your fingers just to see if all your screws are actually screwed in. It happens that they can fall out, so you don't want to make sure that that never happens. Make sure to take your Allen key and screw in all your screws. We also have the screws on the top deck that is used with the same Allen key, the 4mm Allen key. You could tighten them down, but usually they don't come out too often.
Okay, Charles, perfect. So I'm almost ready to go. I'm not sure today if I'm about to do a big carving session or if I want to do high speed. What should I check regarding my bushing? Which one should I use depending on what I'm looking to do?
Well, depending on your weight, you want to choose your bushings accordingly. We have different durometer bushings. We have gray, which is a 90 duro bushing. That is our hardest bushing that we offer. We have green, which comes stock with the boards. That is an 80 duro bushing. We have white in the front when it comes stock with the board. That is a 75 duro bushing. We have a step down from that. We have red bushings, which are a solid 70. We have yellows, which are 65, and we have blues. Those are 60 durometers. Those are our lowest set bushings. So if you're really looking for a carving session, depending on your weight, I'm 160, 170. I would choose maybe between a yellow and maybe red in the back. So the way you would set it up is always harder bushings in the back than in the front. That way you don't have speed wobbles when you start riding. And to avoid the speed wobbles, what you want to do on a first ride is tighten down all your bushings and kind of adjust as you ride. Usually you want a little more turning in the front, less turning in the back. And the way to avoid having speed wobbles is to always have a harder-ish duro bushing in the back, a little bit tight, just so that you know that you won't have a speed wobble when you ride.
Perfect. And how do I change my bushing?
That one's pretty easy. So what we'll do is we'll flip over this board.
There you go.
All right, so on the underside of the bushings, we have these little grub screws. This one you can access and remove easily with a 4mm Allen key. So you would undo them all the way. It doesn't usually need to be all the way. You just want to make sure everything gets out of the plate. So you would do it on both sides. You would take your Allen key, do it on both sides. And this part is a little bit tricky, but it is a little bit easier. We're gonna flip it this way, and I'm gonna show you how to pop them out. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull it like this on one side, put a little weight into it, and you wanna pull out your bushing just like that. Just be careful not to lose the bushing plate. It might still sit there because your grub screw is there. So if the plate is still there, kind of remove it if you can. If not, grab your 4mm Allen key and remove the grub screw. I got mine out. This is what it is. It looks like this when it's sitting inside the bushing seating. The other side is actually pretty easy because there's no weight on the other side. You can just pull it out and pop it out.
Bam. Easy.
Easy. So you want to have a minimal compression of 2 millimeters. This you can see in between the bushing plates and the actual truck. You should see at least 1 to 2 millimeters here. 2 millimeters is the recommended minimum.
Okay, now that we've been through what we need to do with the bushing, what should I do with the kingpin and kingpin?
The kingpin will be tight when we first ship out the boards. They are torque spec'd down to the bone, so you don't need to re-tighten them. It's going to be done correctly the first time. But what you'll notice after a couple rides is that the kingpin flange bushings will wear down. So you're going to feel some slope in your trucks. You're going to feel it move up and down instead of side to side like it's supposed to do. So when that happens, you might want to consider getting a new set of flange bushings just to replace. You usually want to keep it to our flange bushings because if you use anything else, it's possible that you can even wear down the truck base plate, which is not good for the board.
Okay, Charles, perfect. As I can see right now, we got the light connector. I guess I should always check them before going for a ride.
You would maybe want to check them. They will click in, so they're gonna be in properly. So the first time you unplug them, you're gonna have to click a little metal latch here to make sure they're in. You don't have to re-click it to go back in. You're gonna put it back in. You'll hear the click, and that means you're locked in for that.
Perfect. Okay, so we've seen pretty much what we have to see under the board. So maybe we can give a little check to the wheels and tires.
Okay.
All right, perfect. Flip it.
So what you want to notice here is that when you ride, you will eventually wear out the tires. Tires are pretty consumable, right? So what you want to check is if there's any abnormalities, if there is any rocks in there, you know, it's just like checking a bike, like checking anything else that has a tire. You want to make sure that you have not too much wear on it. If it has too much wear, I mean, you can still ride it. Just be aware that if you do hit something that's sharp, it might be more prone to popping the tube. The other thing that you want to check is to check the bearings of the board inside the hub. If you have a nice free spin like this, you know your bearings are still good. If they're getting clunky, getting chalky, maybe it's time to consider getting a new set of bearings, change out your wheel maybe.
Can I just grease them?
Greasing does help a little bit, but it probably won't help in the long run. The ball bearings will end up being contaminated at some point in its life. They're not sealed completely, but they do a really great job at doing their job.
Other question, should I remove my wheels when I inflate them or I can leave them on the board?
Depends on you. If you want to leave them on and you're able to get into the valve properly, you can definitely just leave them on. If you feel like you need to take off the wheel to manhandle the wheel a little bit more, you should definitely do it.
All right, perfect. So I'm good to go?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Let's flip the board. Okay, perfect, guys. So we've been through pretty much everything you gotta check before going for your next ride. Also, if you see that like your grip tape is a little bit dirty, you might want to just clean it a little bit. Also, for the tension of your belt, we will do a full tutorial just about it, but of course this is a part you gotta check.
Yeah. So you'd want to check that belts do wear over time. You want to make sure to check if there's any rocks or something that is making any sort of noise. You want to just make sure you double check it. Check if there's anything wrong with it. If it gets a little bit loose, you might want to tension it. We will do that in another video.
There you go. Now that you're ready to go, well, take your board, go outside, have fun, and don't forget your safety gear. So have a nice ride, guys.
Okay. See you in the next video.
Perfect. Good job.
Good shit.